Hey y'all. So I found out today that oh, one of my buds, um, well, he has chronic pain like I do, and he is considering strongly wanting to move to Texas, which I didn't know that, so I felt like a bomb was dropped on my head when he said that. That sucks. I hate when cool people leave. People you wish would leave, they don't go no damn where. They live to be 500 years old. Okay? They don't go nowhere. I don't know why that is, but he wants to. He's got chronic pain, so the winters in Missouri are really hard for him. Now, back in the day, his woman ended up getting pregnant. They were fooling around doing their thing. She ended up getting pregnant. And he decided he was going to marry her. He said, I only have one real request. And she's like, okay, what's that? That you cook a hot meal at least once a week. Well, hell, anybody could do that. You know what I'm saying? That's not a ridiculous request or anything like that. Most people, if they do cook, they cook more often than that because they have to eat too. So anyway, so that sucks. Now, can he afford it? It's astronomical. So he's trying to mentally try to figure out if, if he can juggle a bunch of balls in the air to make this happen or not, because what he'd have to pay per month would be astronomical, but he would have endless acres. I mean, so many acres, I can't even remember the amount he told me if this comes to fruition, but I didn't even know he was planning to leave until he dropped that bomb on me today, and I'm like, what the hell? And his partner is addicted to working. And I said, she needs to realize that you don't live to work, you work so you can live. I'm a firm believer in that. Addictions are not healthy, work included. And I remember what someone told me, can't remember who it was, but I was in the car with, they told me they were in the car with somebody. They drove by the cemetery. And the person said to them, the cemetery is filled with people who thought the business, their job, could not survive without them. Exactly. If you quit today, believe me, they're going to make it. They're not going to fall flat. They're going to figure it out. Okay? So people throw themselves into this addiction of work, and they have all these excuses and reasons why they have to do it, when in reality, you kind of, I don't want to say you're doing it backwards, but you're doing it backwards. You're supposed to work so you can live, not the other way around. And the job doesn't give a rat's ass about you, no way. Let's just keep it real. They don't care about you, no way. They may appreciate the results that you bring, but they appreciate the almighty dollar a lot more, okay? Your company doesn't feel like they owe you for the rest of your life because you were such a hard worker. Well, honey, they replace you quick, fast, and in a hurry. People have to get that through their head. So when he talked to her about relocating possibly and all this acreage, and she goes, what am I going to do? He goes, what are you going to do? Hunting, fishing, kayaking, hiking. But she's one of those people who doesn't know how to relax. I guess if she doesn't have to work, she feels like she's not being a productive member of society or something. I don't really know. You get so caught up in your job that it becomes, for some people who are addicted, that becomes your whole identity. And that's not how it's supposed to be. Okay? You have a lot of loyalty to a company. I'm not trying to be mean, but they ain't thinking about you. If you quit tomorrow, they're going to make it. You quit today, they're going to make it. You quit 5 minutes from now, they're going to figure it out. Trust and believe there will be no cracks in the foundation of your business, your whatever you do. There will be no cracks in the foundation. They will keep going and not miss a beat. So she would lose her everlasting mind if they end up in the middle of no man's land and she don't have an excuse of throwing herself so heavy into work that she can't do nothing else. No, you're going to have to figure out how to learn. You have to learn to relax. You're okay. You're okay, babe. You know, you're going to have to learn how to relax. And some people can't do that. They just can't. They had vacation for Labor Day. She only worked, I figured that they were doing, multiple day vacay type deal. Nope. She worked half of the vacation and the rest of the time, or the holiday, rest of the time she was working. She went back to work and I'm like, what the hell? He said, well, and this is her excuse. Well, it's because the people under her don't do their jobs right, so she has to do her work plus her job plus their job when she gets back. I said, well, you know how that needs to be fixed? They need to either be retrained or fired. That's what that is. And being that she's the head of it all, she's responsible to make sure that doesn't continue to happen. If you can't do your job, we will escort your behind out of here. So everybody's going to be retrained and you're expected to do your job without needing a babysitter. You got to put your foot on people's neck. But since she's addicted to work, that's convenient for her because she can use that as an excuse to keep going back to work. People will make up any excuse in the world to justify feeding their addiction. They'll come up with any plausible excuse, reason, whatever, when in reality, it's because they're addicted to it. Okay? They're addicted. Now, I'm really impressed with him because he said, you won't have to work no more. Okay? That's his goal. We have all these acres. We could raise cattle. We could do whatever we want to do. We could raise our own fruits and vegetables, whatever, have this whole thing going on. And you don't have to work no more. And for some reason, that's hard for her. That's like, oh, girl, please. I'd be so all over that. Oh, please. I'd be all over that with both feet. I'd keep my house clean. My house is always neat and organized for the most part. One of my previous neighbor told me, I think I told her, she lived right next door to me. And I said, I got to go home and clean. She goes, oh, please. I said, what do you mean? She said, if you have one cushion out of place, you think your house is a mess. Now, I'm not OC. That is not true. That is not true. That is not true. She makes me sound like I'm OCD with clean, and I'm not. I mean, I'm OCD about some things, but not like what she's saying. Oh my God, a cushion's out of place. I gotta redo the whole house. I'm not. She just trying to be funny. Anyway, but yeah, my house has always been any place I lived when I was married, when I wasn't married, whatever. My house was always presentable and I know how to cook meals and, relax because I have chronic pain. If you don't know how to relax when you have chronic pain, you're going to be in a world of trouble, honey. Honey bunches of oats. You're going to be in a world of trouble if you don't know how to lay down, and your body's going to increase your pain and keep turning the knob up until you're in so much pain that you're in agony when your body told you hours ago to chill and you didn't listen. Took it upon yourself to not listen. But the thing I'm impressed with is because his goal is to make sure that they're financially straight. Whether this comes true, what he's planning or not, there'll be something else in the works that is more feasible financially or whatever the case may be. He is a real man. He's not like these fools of today running around trying to get laid by as many people as humanly possible I don't care about you. They don't say it, although some may. I don't care about you. I don't care about your hobbies. I don't care about your future goals. I don't care about your current goals. I don't care about anything, what you went to school for. I don't give two shits about anything about you as a person. Your legs open. Now that I care about. That I care about. He is responsible. His goal is to make sure they are taken care of financially. He's not, and he loves him some sex, okay? Let me explain you something. He's kind of semi-addicted to sex, but he doesn't allow that to remove his brain. He doesn't allow that to liquefy his brain. He's trying to be responsible. He has gold put away, he has silver put away, so he's got some assets that are worth something. He's got property, he's got rental properties. He's got a whole lot of things going on other than hopping between somebody's thighs. He is very, very, very smart intellectually, and he knows what he wants for his future. He has planned for his future. If something should happen to me financially, you're going to be straight because I got this, and this in motion, da 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 da. He's got something better than a will. He's got a trust. He said a will doesn't, I guess it depends on the state you're in. I don't really know. But a will is not enough to guarantee that your stuff goes to the person that it's willed to. You should have a trust and some other things. He said, but a will's not enough. That don't guarantee. It'll still go in probate. I'm like, what? Then what is the point of having a will? You know what I mean? That could vary from state to state. Like I said, I don't know enough about those. But that's where his head is at. Yes, he loves banging. Yes, he likes tossing somebody up or whatever the case is. But he don't let that be his whole identity. He's smart enough to know that you can't have a future based on that unless you're a professional gigolo and you making a killing. Then it could be a financial plan. But aside from that, he's got assets, he's got properties, he's got money saved. He's very, very, very smart, and he's going to protect his partner's future and his family's future. That's a hell of a lot more than I could say for these nappy-headed mofos out here now. The last jackass I knew, he only cares about dating you for a few months, and that makes him cringe every time he does it because his money is too precious to be spending on a woman, a measly woman who I'm just using anyway, manipulating anyway. He don't want to take your ass on dates. Most of them don't want to do that no more. They're empty-headed fuckers. They don't want to do shit for you except unzip their pants. This one over here got his head in the right space and in the right place. I'm taking care of my family. I'm going to make sure that if something happened to me tomorrow, everybody's straight. And y'all got assets that you could keep or you could sell. If you sell them, they're worth a lot. You good. You good. He is a mature adult. And to be that protective of his family is something I rarely see anymore. Now, I know I've seen some ladies online on YouTube, and they were talking about, well, my dad did this, and my dad did that, and my dad told me that guys ain't shit. So you better have your own. And this is coming from a man. Men ain't shit. Most of them ain't shit. So you make sure that you got your education under your belt. You make sure you got your money under your belt so that you could take care of your own. So if you, God forbid, you get involved with somebody, he turned out to be the wrong dude, you get rid of his ass and you still straight. You're not going to find too many men that have the old school mentality. We going to be together. We're going to plan for our future. I'm going to plan for our financial future so that you straight. And one day we don't have to work no more, whatever the case is. You're going to be good. These fools don't think that way. Maybe the decent guys, if they were raised right by their fathers, but good luck with that. because most of them ain't worth 5 pennies you can rub together either. So there's always going to be exceptions, and my friend is the exception. And it's so refreshing to hear him, be that responsible, that mature, thinking ahead for the future, not just banging and banging and banging and banging and tossing you up. He's not stupid like that. He's not simple-minded like that. He knows that don't pay your bills. Again, unless you're a gigolo. Okay, and you're making, thousands of dollars every time you take somebody out or every time you toss somebody up, you get a ton of money. But in reality, in the real world, that's not gonna get you anywhere. You know what I mean? How many people could be a professional gigolo? Anyway, so I don't know. I'm just impressed with his maturity, and I'm very impressed with his desire to make sure that financially everything is squared away. I mean, it's something I don't see. Like I said, these fools out here don't even want to date you. They're crying about how much they got to spend for a movie or a dinner or something like that. And it doesn't make any sense. And they use the excuse, well, I don't have $200 for a dinner. Where in the hell are you taking somebody that is $200? That's your first mistake. You're taking her to the wrong place. You're taking her to the place that rich people go to? What's wrong with you? I ain't never in my life paid $200 for a dinner. I don't know what he's talking about. He's just pulling figures out of the left field that does have nothing to do with reality. He just don't want to spend his precious money. But men of today, men that are really truly boys, which is the majority of them, they want to do the minimum with the maximum efforts. Maximum results. I want to do the least amount, but I want to get the most for the least amount that I do, which is stupid and immature and illogical and unrealistic. But when you're immature, that's how you think. I'm not going to go to college, but I expect to make millions of dollars per year. Oh, okay. Well, you tell me how that works for you, darling. I just don't understand people, but I'm now going to have to tell him that I'm really impressed with him because he's just, and plus not only that, but I mean, he's got a disability, but he gets disability too. If I'm not mistaken, he gets disability or he gets his retire. I don't ask him about his finances. He'll tell me, but he's retired from the military. He had a long stretch with the military. He's got VA benefits for his medical care. And if he wants to pay out of pocket because he's not satisfied with the VA, he will do that too. I mean, he fired a doctor right in front of her face because she was talking stupid. And he called the patient advocacy right in front of her. He said, I want to get rid of this doctor because she doesn't have my physical well-being. She's not taking care of me like I think she should be. Fired her right in front of her face. That's ballsy. That's pretty freaking ballsy. But I would do the same thing. People, don't. I'm a mother bear when it comes to protecting my health. No, I don't play. Don't get done with me. Don't. Because it's an invisible condition anyway. And then somebody who's supposed to care doesn't. Look, you want to have war with me? That's a good way to do it. But, yeah, I'm very impressed with him because it's just rare that I see guys think the way he does, mature, and, planning for the future. I don't know. I don't know. It's so refreshing. This is how it should be. I shouldn't be impressed by it. I should be like, well, yeah, that's what men do. No, but that's not what they do. That's the problem. That's why I'm so impressed with it, because this isn't what they normally do. They do as they please, and they don't care. So, I don't know. That's pretty amazing. But it would hurt my heart. I'd be sad. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sad now thinking about it. I don't wanna lose him as a friend. I mean, He stays in touch with people even if you're not in the same state. So I'm sure I'll hear from him eventually at some point. He also said he's going to give me a motorcycle ride at some point. So, cool. But I don't know. I hate to lose good people. It just sucks. But anyway, and he's not going anywhere by next week or anything like that. This is like long-term plans. And he was going to build a house. And I don't think that's working out. So he was looking at other options. But I don't know. It seems like everything's up in the air at the moment. But anyway, so we'll see what happens. But the other day, Monday, I had my MRI. And it was about 20 minutes or so, which doesn't seem like a long time. But when you have to be super, super still, oh, baby, it's a long time. Okay. Okay. You have to be like a statue. Literally, you cannot move around, wiggle around. You just cannot. You can't. You have to be still. They did not have, what do you call it? Headphones with music on it, which really sucked. So what they do is they just give you earbuds, like, the earplugs, because it's extremely loud. Even with the earbuds in, or the, whatever you call it, earplugs in, it's still very loud. So you can only imagine when it's like without the earplugs. And you hear, and you hear banging noises, and it just does all types of slam, bam, 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 bam. It makes a ton of noise, okay? So if you have to have an MRI, believe me, you're going to have to get ready for it to be, and they put because they're doing an MRI on my neck, they put like a pad on either side of my neck, and they kind of stabilize my neck so it's held in position, so it's not easy for me to move my head. And they also put this thing, he said it was a coil, it's part of a coil thing, I don't know what it is, but it's a thing that goes over your face, and it has a square in the middle so that it's not covering your face, so that you don't feel claustrophobic. I've never experienced that before, but I also never had an MRI on my neck before. My spine, yes, but my neck just by itself, no. He told me I did great. I stayed still. I closed my eyes, and I just put myself in a different mind space. Like you put yourself in a zone. That's what you do. You just put yourself in a zone. You just close your eyes and concentrate on not moving and just relaxing. And it's hard. I mean, but check this, right? He told me, don't you know that people that have MRIs, that have MS, which is multiple sclerosis, for people who don't know what that means, you get lesions on your spine and your brain, and they don't know what causes it, and it interferes with it's a neurological disorder, and it's just a pain, and there's no cure for it, and all that. He said for people who have MS, at least every 6 months to a year, if not or more often, they have to have an MRI to see if the medicine they're on, if they're on is working, or if the illness is progressing or anything like that. They have to keep a close eye. You have to be still. If you have MS and you have to have MRIs done, you have to be still like a statue for 3 to 3.5 hours. I kid you not. And I'm like, what? He said, yeah, 3 to 3.5 hours. You have to be still. I'm like, oh my God, because they have to do your spine and they have to do your brain. And then my brain's going 100 miles an hour because I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God. God forbid I ever had to do, I don't have MS. But how the hell would I manage? And I said to him, I think it's a lot better to be sedated. He said, yes, yes. He said, we don't do that here. That would have to be done at the hospital. because where I was called MOI. It's Missouri Orthopedic Institute. It's a teaching facility, just like University Hospital is a teaching facility also. Uh, so yeah, that's the way that goes. What else was I going to tell you about the MRI? I don't have the results. I think I'll have them in a few weeks or something. I'm not sure. It's on my calendar. He also said, I didn't tell him that I've had several MRIs in the past, so I'm well versed on how this works, okay? You have to be super still, super, super, super still. And they do have a thing that you can squeeze if you have to take a break, so they will pause the machine or whatever they got to do. If you need to sneeze, cough, scratch, wiggle, whatever you got to do until you're going back into statue mode again, you can take breaks. However, it's going to take you a lot longer to get it done. If you take breaks, it's going to take a lot longer to get it finished. He said, I never told him that I had plenty of experience with MRIs. I didn't tell him until after the fact. He said, you did great. I said, well, I've had several of those, so I know how it works. And he goes, oh, really? He said, do you know how many times I deal with patients that tell me, "Oh, I'm an old hat with this. I know all about it. I've had plenty of MRIs." He said, "They're the worst." I said, "You're kidding me." He said, "No, they're the worst. The ones who brag about, "Oh, I'm well versed on this and I know how to do MRIs and this and that," they have no idea that you're supposed to be still. They have no idea that it's going to be 20 minutes to a half an hour. They have no freaking clue it's going to be that long. He said, and in some cases, I think they're confusing MRI with a CAT scan because a CAT scan doesn't take nowhere near as long. But they find out they got to be in there for 20 minutes or a half an hour. They're like, ooh. So the ones who brag the most are the ones who are the worst patients. I said, oh my God. And I never told him anything. So I guess he's right because I didn't go in there cocky with swag talking about, oh, I got this in the bag. I've had many of these, so I'm good. I didn't tell him squat. And I went in there, I did my thing, and he was impressed with what I did. But then the ones that do go in there bragging, they're the ones who are the absolute worst. I'm like, oh my God, wow. Okay. Anyway, you guys take care. I'll keep you posted on the results of my neck issue. This is a result of chronic pain that's getting worse is the result of an accident in my 20s. I did 2 full spins, 2 donuts on a highway, and your body's not supposed to go through that. And I did not have the proper medical support. I did not have the proper familial support. The parent is a psycho, so she wasn't going to it wasn't it was a toxic environment, so you're not going to get the rest you need. You're not going to be able to stay off work for a while until you can get the inflammation down in your body. My doctor was Mickey Mouse because it was insurance through the job I had at the time. They were Mickey Mouse. They did not do an x-ray. I kid you not. I kid you not. And for those of you who work in the medical field who are listening to this, and for me, when I realized after I had medical training many years later, now I realized how negligent they were. No x-rays, no tender point tests, no physical tests like raise your arm this way and resist me pushing it down. Raise your leg this way, resist me pushing it down. Zippo. Zippo. Here is a muscle relaxer. Good luck. They didn't say good luck, but they might as well have said good luck. My God, they could not have been bigger Mickey Mouse than if they tried. Oh, I'm just so appalled at how negligent. And when I became an EMT, I wasn't a doctor, but the mechanism of injury is crucial. Okay? It's crucial. They knew the mechanism of injury. They didn't ask me questions about it. Tell me more about the accident. What happened? Did you lose consciousness? Do you know where you are? What's your name? Who's the president? They didn't do shit. Here's a pill. Doink. Wow. I like I said, once I got professional medical training down the line, I realized that they were so Mickey Mouse. And I talked to somebody about it the other day, and the person, I can't remember who it was, but they said, "So you didn't think to tell them more detail?" I said, or what? I said, I didn't think I should have to tell them to do their job. Plus, you're in your 20s. It doesn't occur to you that you're in your 20s, you're a baby. You assume, and there's people that are double that age, and they still don't think they should have to tell their doctor how to do their damn job. They're assuming if you went to medical school, you should know already what to do. And I'm in my 20s. I don't want to be in a damn doctor's office as it is. Much less I gotta tell you at the tender age of 20, I gotta tell you, sit you down and have a meeting with you and tell you, this is the mechanism of injury, so that's really important, okay? Because a person's body should not be going zoom, zoom in two circles. It causes a double whiplash injury, which requires you to do, a physical test on them, do a physical examination, look at their body, see where the injuries are. You should do an x-ray, all of that. Who in their 20s knows that they have to tell their doctor what to do? Or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 or 80. You automatically know you got to teach your doctor how to be a doctor. Come on. They should already freaking know. You paid $300,000 or more to go to medical school and you don't know your ass from a hole in the ground? What the hell? So their negligence basically helped me get fibromyalgia because y'all didn't nip it then. It was a very serious accident. I could have died in that accident. And they were like, it happens. Wow. They didn't say that, but they might as well have said it. Wow. Wow. Crazy as hell. Anyway, love you guys. Take care. Bye.